Why is it that sometimes, when a gathering, a trip, or a meeting you already agreed to suddenly gets canceled, the first feeling that appears isn't disappointment, but relief? A kind of quiet lightness that seems to arrive almost instantly. Why is it that when you realize you actually enjoy being alone, you rarely treat that feeling as a normal preference? Instead, you begin to wonder, maybe I'm too distant, too unsociable. Maybe something about me isn't quite right. And why is it that when you finally have a stretch of quiet time, undisturbed, something unexpected happens? Your thoughts become clearer, your emotions settle, and for a moment you notice something surprising. In that quiet space, you feel more like yourself. If these experiences feel familiar to you, then today's topic is not simply why some people dislike socializing. And it's not about reducing solitude to a personality label. Instead, we're exploring a psychological pattern that is often misunderstood. Why some people actually recover faster when they are alone, and why the sense of relief you feel in silence may not be avoidance at all. It may simply be your nervous system telling you what truly suits you. You may recognize a weekend like this. A message appears in the group chat. Someone suggests a gathering. Maybe it's drinks with coworkers or a birthday dinner a friend has been planning. At first, you don't necessarily mind. Part of you might even look forward to it. But as the date gets closer, a strange kind of fatigue begins to appear. You imagine the crowded restaurant, the repeated small talk, everyone taking turns sharing updates about their lives, and the constant rhythm of staying engaged, responding, keeping up with the conversation. Many people assume this feeling simply means you're introverted, but psychological research suggests something deeper. Social interaction is actually a highly demanding cognitive task. During a typical gathering, your brain is processing a remarkable amount of information. Facial expressions, shifts in tone, changes in topic, and the subtle question of when to speak and when to stay silent. Psychologists refer to this ability as social cognitive processing. For some people, the more deeply the system operates, the more energy it consumes. So when the gathering ends, some people feel energized, while others simply want to return to a quiet room, not because they dislike people, but because their nervous system has just completed a long period of intense activity. Why is it that during the same gathering, some people feel energized while others leave feeling completely drained? The answer may lie in the nervous system itself. In the 1990s, psychologist Elaine Aron introduced a concept known as highly sensitive people, often shortened to HSP. Her research suggests that roughly 15 to 20% of people process external information more deeply than average. This does not mean they are weaker, it means their brains simply process more details in the same environment. Imagine a typical team dinner. Some people mainly follow the flow of conversation, but others notice far more. A shift in a coworker's tone, the subtle tension at the other end of the table, the background music, the brightness of the lights. All of these signals are being processed at the same time. Neuroscience studies show that highly sensitive individuals often have greater activity in areas of the brain related to sensory processing and emotional empathy. In other words, during the same situation, their brains may be running more internal processes, and when that state continues for several hours, energy naturally declines. So when some people need quiet time after social events, it is not a rejection of others, it is simply the nervous system going through a process of resetting its energy. The difficulty does not always come from fatigue itself. Often, the real pressure comes from how society interprets that fatigue. In many cultural narratives, social activity is treated as a sign of health. If someone frequently attends gatherings, shows up at events, and stays socially visible, they are usually seen as outgoing, engaged, and well-adjusted. But when a person prefers solitude, the interpretation often changes immediately. People may ask, "Are you antisocial? Do you have social anxiety? Did something happen to you?" These reactions are extremely common. Psychologists have identified something called extroversion bias. In many workplaces, those who speak often, participate actively, and stay visible in conversations are more likely to be perceived as confident and motivated. Meanwhile, quiet individuals are more easily misunderstood as uninterested or lacking ability. Over time, people who simply need more quiet time may begin to doubt themselves. They try to attend more events. They try to appear outgoing. Some even learn to perform a social personality that doesn't truly belong to them. The problem is not solitude. The problem begins when a natural rhythm is repeatedly interpreted as a flaw that needs correction. When this misunderstanding continues for years, it can slowly reshape the way a person lives. Many people begin trying to adapt to a rhythm that was never meant for them. At work, they try to attend every team activity. Friday drinks, weekend trips, after-work dinners, even small moments of casual office conversation they feel reluctant to miss. They rarely say no, not because they enjoy it, but because refusing feels like admitting something is wrong with them. Over time, this constant adjustment creates a kind of fatigue that is difficult to notice at first. It isn't the tiredness after a single gathering. It is a deeper form of exhaustion, a long-term drain of energy. Psychological studies show that when a person's behavior remains out of sync with their nervous system for extended periods, stress levels gradually rise. The body becomes more easily fatigued, attention recovers more slowly, and emotions can begin to feel dull or distant. Many people interpret this condition as work stress or simply the result of a busy life, but very few people pause to ask a different question. Maybe the problem is not that life is too busy. Maybe it is that you have been living for too long according to a rhythm that was never yours. Perhaps now you can remember that familiar moment again. When a gathering gets canceled and you suddenly feel relieved, the feeling is usually quiet, almost subtle. As if your body is slowly relaxing, the room grows quiet, your breathing becomes slower. Sometimes that reaction is not avoidance. It is simply your nervous system finally stepping away from constant stimulation. Psychological research shows that when external input decreases, the brain gradually restores its attention resources. The nervous system moves from a state of alertness back toward a more stable rhythm. This is why many people find that when they are alone, their thoughts become clearer, their emotions become steadier. Ideas that were buried beneath busyness begin to surface. Solitude is not a rejection of the world. It is more like a necessary pause, a moment where the nervous system can return to its natural balance. So the next time you step into a quiet space, perhaps you can understand something new. Sometimes recovery does not come from going to more places. Sometimes it comes from returning to the rhythm that truly allows you to be yourself. This is Felix. May you understand yourself a little deeper and treat the growing version of you with patience and kindness. See you next time.